Welcome to the children's program from Leaside United Church and Rosedale United Church in Toronto. My name is Rebecca, and I am the Child and Youth Program Lead from Leaside United Church. Welcome! Today we are going to talk about sharing the things we know with one another, and how together we can do things that we couldn't do alone. You will need your Read, Wonder, Listen Bible if you have one. If you don't worry, we'll do the story together. For our craft activity today, we'll be doing an experiment. You will need a bowl, milk, food coloring, and dish detergent. If you are watching this video live, you can try to quickly gather what you need. If you are watching on YouTube, you can pause the video now and collect what you need. Now we take a moment of centering to light the Christ candle. We light the Christ candle each week to remind us that the light of God is within all of us. For today's time of grounding, we're going to be doing some stretches. So I want you to imagine that there is a huge lemon tree above you. And what we want to do is to make some lemonade. So we reach up and we pick a lemon and we squeeze that lemon and get all that juice and lemonade out. And when we finally squeezed it, we throw it to the ground. And then we reach up to get another lemon and we pick that lemon and we squeeze the lemon, get all that juice out, and throw it to the ground. And finally, we reach above our heads to get the biggest lemon in the tree, and we pull it down, and we squeeze with all our might to get all the juice out of this huge lemon, and we throw it to the ground. And after all that squeezing, we need to take a moment and wiggle our bodies and get all of that squeezing tension out. And when we're done, take a breath. Today's Bible story is called Jesus in the Temple. This story is different from most that you hear about Jesus because in this story, he is a kid and not an adult. Jesus is 12 in this story. And in the years between his birth and now, he has mostly had a happy and simple childhood with his parents. But in this story, things begin to change as Jesus goes to the temple. Jesus in the Temple, page 152. Jesus grew up in the village of Nazareth among his aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents. In many ways, he was an ordinary little boy. He asked a lot of questions, played outside with his friends, and spent hours exploring the hills around the Sea of Galilee. When Jesus was very small, Joseph carved toy animals for him. Later, Jesus learned how to handle tools for himself, how to measure and cut and shape wood. Mary taught Jesus how to bake bread, plant seeds, and feed the hens. She also filled his head and heart with the stories and songs and prayers of his people. One thing set Jesus apart. He was very good at being still. Almost every day he would find a quiet place to sit alone for a while. When Mary asked him what he was doing, he said he was listening for God. When Jesus was 12 years old, he went with his family and almost everyone else in Nazareth to the great city of Jerusalem to celebrate the feast of the Passover. After the feast was over, everyone went home. Mary and Joseph had traveled for a whole day before they realized that Jesus was not with them. They turned around and went back to Jerusalem. For 3 days they searched the streets and did not find Jesus. Where could he be? Where would he go? Then Mary had an idea. When Mary and Joseph entered the temple, they found a gathering of teachers. At the very center was Jesus. He was listening and asking questions and sharing his ideas. Mary pushed her way into the circle. Fear made her voice sharp. "How could you do this to us? We have been looking everywhere for you." Maybe Jesus felt sorry when he saw how upset Mary was, but maybe not. "Did you really not know where I would be?" he wondered. Jesus looked at Joseph. "You taught me to work with wood. If I wanted to be a carpenter, what better way to learn than being with you in your workshop? But I have other work to do. How will I get ready unless I spend time here in God's house, listening and asking questions?" Mary and Joseph looked at one another. They did not know how to answer, but they were both wondering the same thing. What kind of work would Jesus do? You have probably noticed that every person in the world looks a little different from one another. Well, this is true on the inside too. Nobody has the exact same personality and feelings and thoughts as you do. This is called being unique, and God made every person in the world unique. This is so special because it means that we can all share our ideas with each other, and together we can learn and do things that we could never do alone. Where in our story today did you hear people sharing what they know with one another? Did Jesus share anything? The teachers at the temple? I noticed that Mary and Joseph taught Jesus many things when he was a child. But also, Jesus and the teachers at the temple shared many great ideas with one another. And together, everyone learned something new about God. For today's craft, we're doing a science experiment using things you can find in your kitchen. First, grab your bowl and pour in some milk, or have an adult help you if pouring is difficult. You don't need to fill the bowl, just a little more than you need to cover the bottom. Then you can choose your food coloring. I am choosing blue, green, and yellow. Place as many drops as you would like into the milk. As we place the food coloring in, I wonder, who in your life has taught you something? A parent? Sibling? Teacher? Who have you taught something to? Now it is time for the reaction to happen in this science experiment. You probably notice that all the drops we placed in are mostly staying where they fell and not mixing together very much. Now watch what happens as we put in some dish detergent. Wow! They all moved and are swirling together with one another. Isn't that beautiful? Have you ever worked in a group with others to do something that would have been difficult to do alone? It is the same for our craft today. The milk and food coloring and detergent are all good at what they do by themselves, but when you put them together, they make something new and beautiful. This is true in our lives, too. When we work together with others, you can do all kinds of things you couldn't do alone. An example from my life is making music. I love to play piano and make music by myself, but when I play in a band with others, I am able to create music that I would not be able to do alone. Jesus shows us that each unique person has something to offer. You have something amazing to offer. As we leave our space today, may we thank God for making us all unique so that we can work together and do new and wonderful things. Amen.